if you've followed New Wave Feminists for any amount of time, you know that I really, really, really dislike abortion victim photography. So these are the things that most of you would call graphic images, right? Where someone stands outside an abortion clinic or on an overpass or on the side of the road and they have this like huge image of an aborted fetus. And this is something that I don't like because I know how people respond to it, and it creates this fight or flight type of reaction, right? So they look at the image, but they don't really see the image. They don't see the humanity of the unborn. And for a lot of people who believe this is a clump of tissue, you're showing them something that actually still kind of looks like a clump of tissue to someone dead set on dehumanizing the unborn child, right? So in my opinion, the only time that these are very effective is when someone actually has dialogue that goes along with it. And so you're having a conversation and, someone asks to see these images. And, it's interesting because a lot of times it'll be people who have seen them before but have never really, really seen them. But then suddenly, once they start to understand the reality of abortion and their mind is open to it, they're willing to look at it. And it's no longer about them being pissed off at you for putting that in their face, but they can actually see, wow, this is a human being and it's been mutilated and killed. And I think that there's a huge difference, right, between those techniques. I used to have a friend who would say, it's a tool in our toolkit, but we need to use it like a scalpel and not a flamethrower. And I completely agree with that. So again, if you followed us for any amount of time, you know that I'm very, very, very anti the use of graphic images. That said, I am following Center for Bioethical Reform or whatever in Ireland, which in the past they've been a little bonkers. But anyway, they are showing not only, images of a fetus that's been aborted, but just an unborn child in the womb, just full fetal development, 7 weeks, As someone who's very pro-education, I think that's vital. I think that women who are going to be, faced with the option of abortion need to absolutely know what it is that they are going to be aborting. And so I find it fascinating that they actually had people from the repeal campaign over there in Ireland come and block these signs, block these images. And then it got me thinking, the people who get so aggressive and angry when they see these images, what is that triggering inside of them? What's happening when they're getting that angry? Because if it's an appendectomy or a root canal, you don't get that pissed off seeing it. You don't have that type of emotional reaction, right? And furthermore, why is it that an image of an abortion upsets you, but the act of the abortion itself doesn't upset you? There's a major disconnect happening. And so, I don't know, I would really like to have an actual conversation, like a civil conversation with pro-choice people about this. The only arguments, because I constantly play devil's advocate in my head and try to think like, okay, well, what would someone argue against this? A lot of times it would be the same thing I would argue against this, that you have women who have miscarried, who have, had a past abortion that they regretted. You have women who that can be just very hurtful to them to see it, and it might remind them of that. But as far as just the average pro-choice person who believes that abortion should be legal and accessible, why then do you have a problem with this? Like, it's either a human being or it's not a human being. And so, again, you wouldn't get this upset over an appendectomy image. Why are you getting this upset over, this clump of tissue that's been torn apart?